So what is the strongest natural pain reliever? Hi, I'm Marino, creator of the Awaken Your Wellness Now blog. Now, many of you may know me as a physical therapist. Now, I've been a physical therapist for over 25 years, and I've specialized in manual orthopedic physical therapy. And I've worked one-on-one with my patients for my whole career. Now, it's always been my goal and my intention to help people reduce or eliminate their pain and return them back to fully functional lives without pain. Now, I've treated all different types of people at all different ages, with all different types of injuries, and in all different types of pain. But the common denominator is that everybody that comes to see me is in pain, and they want to return back to a normal life without pain. But the fact of the matter is, too, that all of us experience pain, whether it's physical pain or emotional pain, at some point in our lives, and usually multiple times in our lives. So today I'm going to discuss and tell you what I believe is the strongest natural pain reliever there is. Now, before I tell you about what I believe is the strongest natural pain reliever, I want to tell you a little bit more about my history to give you a little context. Now, in addition to being a physical therapist, I'm also someone who suffered with chronic pain for 7 years. Now, this came as a result of surviving a life-threatening car accident about 25 years ago. And the story goes is I was a physical therapist only for about a week. I was also engaged to be married soon. And I happened to be driving in a friend's car, and the friend drove across traffic, made a left-hand turn across traffic, and a car happened to come over a hill too fast and T-bone the car right where I was sitting. I just remember the white lights, and I woke up 3 days later in the hospital to find out that the fire department had to cut me out of the car because the car had folded up on top of me. And because of a severe head wound, they had to helicopter me to the local trauma hospital, where I had a 9-hour surgery. And the orthopedic surgeons put together my leg, where I had 8 fractures, and they put 2 long rods down the length of my leg, 6 screws, 4 cables, and a plate. And I had fractured my low back as well at one level. And the plastic surgeons closed up the wound that I had on my head as well. I spent a week in the hospital, and I didn't walk for 5.5 months, and I was out of work for a year. There was a second surgery where they had taken out some of the hardware, but most of the hardware would stay in for what I would say is the duration. So you can imagine how I would go through some physical therapy myself. So the first year I was a physical therapist, I actually spent it as a patient and returned to being a physical therapist the next year, which again, in turn, in retrospect, is what allowed me and gave me the focus to become a therapist that specialized in manual therapy. So you can see how this would give me a lot more insight into what it feels like to have chronic pain and the different things that we experience as we go through it. But before I tell you how I recovered from my chronic pain and how I got to the next level, I want to tell you a little bit more about pain. Now, the sensation of pain involves the communication between our peripheral nerves, our spinal nerves, and the brain. And there are different types of pain depending on the underlying cause. So there's acute pain that can last anywhere from minutes to about 3 months, and sometimes it can last as long as 6 months. And an example of this pain is the pain you get, let's say, when you cut your finger and it's the resultant healing that occurs, or you sprain your ankle or sprain your knee, or you have a temporary illness. And usually the pain subsides when the injury is healed or the illness subsides. So the thing with acute pain is it can evolve into chronic pain. Now, chronic pain is longer in duration. Now, it can also be continuous pain, or it can be intermittent, which means on and off. Now, it's usually greater than 6 months, but can last for years. And sometimes with certain patients, it can even last decades. And chronic pain can be from certain health conditions like arthritis, fibromyalgia, certain conditions of the spine, of the neck and back. It can also come from other related illnesses as well. There are different characteristics to pain as well. When there is damage to the tissues of the body, people usually describe the pain as sharp, aching, or throbbing pain. This is usually from a mechanical injury, like if you stub your toe or you drop something on your foot, or you cut yourself as a laceration, or you sprain your ankle or your knee, or you sprain your back or neck. And these are damage to the tissues. There's also what's called neuropathic pain, where there's damage to the peripheral nerves or other parts of the nervous system. People usually describe this pain as shooting, stabbing, burning pain. Sometimes it can be described as pins and needles. Then you have what's called radicular pain, when it's specifically caused by a spinal nerve being compressed or inflamed. It can happen by decreased room in the area where the spinal nerve exits, or let's say a herniated or a bulging disc that puts pressure on the nerve root. This pain can be described as shooting or burning pain that radiates down the leg. Usually can go through the buttock, down into the leg, as far as into the foot, depending on what nerve root is compressed. And so you see, you have all these different characteristics of pain. And the challenge with pain comes in the fact that everybody perceives pain differently. You could have somebody that breaks their leg, but yet apparently doesn't seem to sense much pain. Or you could have somebody with a much less injury that seems to have a severe amount of pain. So you see, the pain is mediated by nerve fibers. And it's the job of these nerve fibers to send the message up to the brain. And this happens very quickly. But then the brain interprets the pain. So when the brain receives this message, it is your brain's job to make you aware of the pain. And the brain, what the brain does is the brain analyzes the threat to your system. And because everybody is different, this explains why everybody's brain can react different to different pain stimuli. And this can also explain why pain perception and pain tolerance can differ so much from person to person. This can also explain why somebody seemingly has a minor injury that can cause severe pain, or somebody that seems to have a severe injury that seems to be mild to that person and they shrug it off. And that also brings up the concept of neuroplasticity. And neuroplasticity talks about the nervous system or the brain's ability to adapt and learn new things. And unfortunately, sometimes with brain perception, we can have a heightened level or a hypersensitivity to pain. And it lowers our threshold to pain, and it takes less and less and less stimulus to elicit the pain response in our brain. And this can cause us problems with chronic pain. And see, what happens is your pain-producing mechanisms of your brain actually do too good of a job. And this can perpetuate the chronic pain cycle. But there's a silver lining to this, because if we can be hypersensitive in our brain's perception of pain, we can also desensitize that over time. And I'll talk more about this in a little bit. But there is also another issue with chronic pain, because chronic pain can evoke emotions like fear, anxiety, overwhelm, and these emotions can permeate every aspect of our lives. And there's also issues where if you had a high level of stress, anxiety, and overwhelm before you had an injury or before you had a trauma, this can also have problems with initiating or causing the evolution of chronic pain, or the development from acute pain to chronic pain, because of high levels of stress, anxiety, and overwhelm. Now, when I was a physical therapist and I was experiencing chronic pain myself, it was a paradox for me, because here I was treating patients who were in chronic pain and treating patients who had acute pain and all different levels of pain. I was in chronic pain myself. And I finally got to a point where I said, enough is enough. So I started to research everything I could about pain science, the psychology of pain, personal development, self-growth. And what I found over time, and what my epiphany was, that it was my mindset that mattered most with regard to what my relationship to pain was. And once I had become aware of my mindset toward pain and towards the traumatic event that I had been through, and then I started to enhance my mindset, it made all the difference in the world. And over a period of about 6 months, I no longer had chronic pain. And what I noticed with almost every chronic pain patient that I had, that they were caught in what I call a negative mindset pain loop, where they had a negative bias with respect to their mindset towards their pain. And what I found was that if you focus on pain, it perpetuates the pain cycle and your brain's reaction to pain. But if you start to change that and you start to focus on wellness and what your goals are for what you want to accomplish, you will start to see things change. But it's not immediate. It doesn't happen overnight. It takes time. As they say, there's no free lunch. It takes hard work. And if you're willing to put the time in and work on it over and over and over again to change your mindset, you'll see all the difference in the world. So your mindset is a way of thinking or a set of beliefs that determines your outlook and your attitude in life. You see, your brain gives you more of whatever you're focusing on most during your day. So when it comes to your chronic pain, if you continue to focus on pain, your brain gives you more pain. If you say, why am I in so much pain? Your brain will answer the question and give you all the reasons of why you're in pain. But if you focus on your wellness and what your goals are for what you will accomplish, your brain starts to focus on solutions to those challenges. And you will then, instead of focusing on pain, focusing on accomplishing your goals. And you will slowly start to see your brain focus on wellness. And the more you focus on wellness, the less you're focusing on pain. And you will see the difference over time. So now, as you can see, what I believe is the strongest natural pain reliever is your mindset. Now, what I also found is this permeates into just our normal lives. If you don't even experience chronic pain, if you're just experiencing stress, overwhelm, anxiety, that this works for this as well. As you start to focus on your mindset and change your focus to what you want in life and what you want to accomplish, your brain will start to focus on that more and less on stress and less on anxiety. So if there is good news about chronic pain, is now you can start to teach your brain to desensitize your brain's perception of pain. So if I could tell you one of the primary keys for moving forward with reducing and eliminating your chronic pain is to focus on becoming well. Focus less on being in pain. Focus on what your goals are. If you don't have goals, that's one of the primary keys as well, is set goals for what you want to accomplish. Now, there are a number of things that you can do to start to focus more on your enhanced mindset and focusing less on your pain to reduce your chronic pain or eliminate it. You can do things like meditation. You can do guided imagery. You can focus on Tai Chi, yoga, Qigong, which are sometimes considered meditation and movement. You can do breathing and relaxation techniques. So the first thing I would say to you, to be on the road towards reducing or eliminating your chronic pain, is to focus on your mindset, to focus on improving your wellness, focus on your goals. If you don't have any goals yet, set goals for yourself for what you want to accomplish with respect to your health and wellness. And remember, it doesn't happen overnight. It's hard work. It's consistent work. I know what it's like to be in chronic pain. I know it's not a fun place to be. But know that you are stronger than you realize and you are in control. Well, I hope this information helped you out. And as always, if you're seeing this video anywhere other than my blog, go check my blog out at awakenyourwellnessnow.com/blog. Have a great day, and as always, be positive, be motivated, be focused, and be well.